Alright guys, tonight's homework is pretty important. We're going to be talking about how to annotate a text. So at the end of tonight's homework, you should know some new and helpful ways of taking notes while you read. This is super important. It's going to be very helpful on our next proficiency, as well as getting prepared for OAKS that we're going to take at the beginning of March before spring break. So pay attention, look for those pencil icons when you're supposed to be taking notes, and let's get started. Okay, so I wanted to do a brief reminder of some highlighting rules. We talked about it at the beginning of the year, but I think it's been a while now, and I'm not seeing as much highlighting as I would like to. So let's just kind of go over the rules again. So first of all, read first and highlight second. So you're going to read a paragraph or a chunk of text at a time and then go back and highlight. This is a really important close reading skill because it's forcing you to look at a text more than once. You're going to read it first, and you're going to go back and highlight it, read it a second time as you're highlighting. So it's good, just good practice. You're going to highlight just words and phrases only, not full sentences or full paragraphs. Remember the rule of 5, highlight 5 words or less. Remember, avoid coloring, less is more. Mrs. Carter has a really hard time with this. I tend to highlight entire paragraphs, but as you can see from this example picture off to the side, this person's doing a really good job avoiding coloring and only highlighting sections or phrases. So less is more when it comes to highlighting. It's also really good to highlight text features, so make sure to highlight anything special happening in the text. This is going to help you understand more about what you're reading. So, some ideas of what to look for: maps, charts, graphs, pictures, titles, subtitles, captions, bold or italicized typed. They're there for a reason. Make sure you pay attention and read everything on the page. Also, when it comes to titles and any directions, if there's a title, off to the side, predict what you may already know about the passage by reading that title and making a little annotation off to the side. On the OAKS test, there are sometimes directions or additional info in italics that people sometimes glance over it. Don't do that. Whatever you do, read everything on the page. And so far this year, ladies and gentlemen, I have not been impressed with your reading of directions skills. Oftentimes with these iPads, you're just looking for the next button to click or link to click on, and then you go, go, go. Stop. Take a minute, slow down, read the instructions, read every single thing on the page. Sometimes there's important information in that section that you might just glance over and just rush forward into the next step, and that shouldn't be happening. Please take your time. As far as the OAKS prep is concerned, if there's any questions that are attached to the reading, read the questions first before you begin reading the passage. So this could happen at any time. Anytime you're reading in history class, in science, if we're doing OAKS prep in my class, we're reading any kind of text that's not necessarily OAKS prep. If there's questions attached, read those before you begin. This is actually called setting a purpose. It allows you to look for specific things or answers while you're reading. So again, stop, slow down, pay attention to everything that's attached to this chunk of text that you're looking at. Now we want to talk about active reading. So you need to be reading the text actively. This just means pay attention to what you're reading. Look for the key information. Some ideas for active reading. Number the paragraphs off to the side. Don't forget to highlight and annotate. Don't worry, I'm going to be talking about annotation in a minute. The next slide, I think, kind of goes into that. Like, what do I do when I annotate? What are these notes off to the side that I should be doing while I'm reading? Don't worry, we're getting there. A really good tip just off to the side, main idea is really important. Off to the side, really quick, brief little notes. Write down the main idea of each paragraph. This is going to help you find the information quicker, easier as you go through your questions, especially when it comes to testing situations. So I think those are two things you should just get into the habit of doing all the time. Off to the side, number your paragraphs, and off to the side, write the main idea for each paragraph. All right, so how do we annotate? I'm sure you've heard these things before, so this should be review. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hopefully some of your teachers have used text to self, text to text, text to world, all of those good kind of things. I'm just doing a brief reminder that these are things that you should be doing when you annotate. To annotate just means to make notations as you're reading a text. And I'm all about shorthand, getting you to take notes and do it in a quick fashion. So if you find something that you want to label as a text-to-self connection, a code word for this would be a TS. But then I don't think that's all you do. I don't think off to the side you just write TS and move on. I think you should write a little bit with that. So with the iPads, utilize the fact that you can add little stickies, whether you want to handwrite or do a little text box on top of the sticky, that's up to you. But use those, add in these pieces. Don't just do TS and then move on. do a little reflection, write a sentence or two, or less than a sentence, just a few words. This text to self is just when the text reminds you of something that you've actually seen in your own life, something you've experienced, someplace you've been, someone you know. All of those are good things. That's text to self. Text to text, or the code for this TT, is when the text reminds you of something else you've read or you've watched. So another book, a movie, a TV program, a video of some sort. Again, making connections to help you better comprehend and understand what you're reading. Text to world, code for this would be a TW. So this is when the text reminds you of something like a current event, something that's happening in the world, a famous person or event. Or the text makes you think about a bigger issue like theme. We've been working on themes so much this year. Remember, it's usually not stated in the text, so be on the lookout for any clues. The main idea of each paragraph is going to be kind of clues in and of itself on what the theme or the bigger issue is of the text. It's always good to look out for those things. You could also ask a question. The code I'd use for this is just a big old question mark off to the side, and I do this constantly in my notes. In fact, I'll show you some notes that I have on my Notability to kind of show you some good ideas for note-taking skills, and I use the question mark all the time. So this is just when the text leads you to ask questions. It could be general confusion, or it also could be looking towards, future things. Like sometimes I'm reading things and it's causing me to just reflect in general. Not that I'm confused about anything, but just about my own practice or what I'm doing, or makes me think of something else. So asking questions is always good. Another idea would be to make a prediction. The code for this would be just a P off to the side. So anytime the text is giving you a clue about something that might be happening, those I think, I wonder kinds of questions, this is a great skill, especially because I believe next year at the high school, one of your proficiencies is actually on prediction. So it's good to start practicing this now. Another one would be to notice the visualization techniques the writer is using. The code for this would be a V. If you're a person that learns with images and pictures, this would be one thing I would focus on. So this is just any time that the writer is helping you make pictures in your head, they're using great sensory details, makes it feel like you're almost watching a movie in your head instead of reading. I've actually even seen people, instead of just making brief comments, actually physically draw a picture. And again, if you're a person that learns better with images, this is key for you, right? Draw a picture off to the side. That's going to help you do it. Main idea, the code for this is MI. Again, like I said already, main idea is really important. So be looking at chunks of the text paragraphs. I know this is mostly about this, or this is an important part. It's about this, anything off to the side that's main idea oriented, I think you should just get in the habit of doing. That's just a good skill. All right, now let's talk about what you should quote. Any of the textual support or evidence that you're pulling out from a text. So select something from the text that fits any of the following. Something that makes you mad, surprises you, something that you would consider repeating, something you disagree or agree with, something you feel is incorrect or wrong. Those last two, that's huge, or actually those last three. Especially as we move into this persuasive unit in both history class and my class, you're working on researching. And if at any point you find something that you agree or don't agree with, or that you think is wrong, that's important to pull out and to use as evidence. So just be paying attention to that stuff. Anything that's unusual or written in a catchy way, something that's important for other people to know, something that you would like to talk about or reminds you of a similar situation so you can make a connection to it. In this instance, we're asking you to focus, or this next proficiency, we're focusing on author's point of view and the purpose. So if you're finding anything that specifically points out the author's point of view, use it, quote it. Something that I've noticed is that you don't always have to quote something that has actual quotation marks around it. Some students get confused. Just looking for quotation marks for a quote doesn't mean that that's what you have to pull for support. That's just dialogue, and happens mostly in fiction and not that much in nonfiction. So you're just looking for anything that's a complete sentence or a part of the sentence with or without quotation marks that you want to copy down word for word and use as support in whatever you're writing about or talking about. Okay, that was a lot of information. We're finished. Don't forget to keep these notes. They're going to be helpful and important as we continue through this proficiency and as we get ready for our Big Oaks test. Don't forget to do the digital summary and questions. Scroll down, fill out that form, press submit, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Thanks, guys.